Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Locked and loaded. That's what the president said after drone attacks and a massive fire at one of the world's biggest oil facilities in Saudi Arabia. Who's claiming responsibility and how could the U.S. respond?
New allegations of sexual misconduct. Two women claim Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh exposed himself to a woman decades ago. They say the issue isn't just whether it happened, but whether the FBI knew and buried it before Kavanaugh was confirmed.
Protecting our students. New procedures are rolling out to keep schools safe. The new protocols in effect and how it could mean the difference between life and death. Today is Monday, September 16th. 2019. Good morning. I'm Tabitha Mills in for Maddie Jensen alongside Alex Fisher. Happy Monday.
Yeah, it is Monday, and of course, it is a beautiful Monday out there after a little bit of a warm weekend.
Yeah.
We've got, of course, a busy week ahead. We've got the first day of the fair coming up, and the weather, I don't think, could be more perfect.
Yeah, we were all scared there for a second, but Kevin, you've got the good news.
Yeah, it might not be so perfect today, but it doesn't matter because the fair doesn't open until Wednesday. It was warm yesterday. Humidity values were up. It was muggy. Today, we've got a couple of things happening. We have a trough developing out of the north, so we're clear for the most part right now, but I do expect clouds to increase out of the north as we go throughout the afternoon. As the front pushes on through, we could be looking at another wind event, so I do expect the winds to pick up this afternoon as well. 67 in Bakersfield right now. We have a light wind out of the north-northeast at 5. Humidity right at 28%. We take a look at the temperatures for today. Starting out in the 60s, we'll be in the 80s this afternoon, so that is good news, but I do expect some clouds to push on in and also the breeze to pick up. So just keep that in mind. Could even see some blowing dust. 50 degrees into Hatchby right now. A light wind out of the southeast at 6. Those winds are going to continue to increase throughout the day, starting out in the 50s, and then we're looking at 70s throughout the afternoon. We'll talk more about your forecast in just a little bit, but first, let's send it over to Alex. He's got a check of your morning commute.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. Taking you outside for the first time this morning to the 99 near White Lane. It's looking pretty good on that side of town. Everything else around the county also looking great to start off your Monday morning. We'll have another check coming up in about 15 minutes. Heightened tensions, a blame game, another very real prospect of higher gas prices. All eyes are on the Middle East this morning after drone attacks and a massive fire at one of the world's biggest oil facilities in Saudi Arabia. The fire Saturday led to the interruption of an estimated 5.7 million barrels in crude supplies. The U.S. blames Iran. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo claims Iran itself attacked the world's energy supply, but Iran says it is not responsible. Meantime, Saudi Arabia is desperate to figure out who is behind the attacks. This morning, Yemen's Houthi rebels are claiming responsibility. Yesterday afternoon, President Trump posted this tweet about the attack, which reads in part, quote, "There is reason to believe that we know the culprit and are locked and loaded, depending on verification, but are waiting to hear from the kingdom as to who they believe was the cause of this attack and under what terms we would proceed." And just about 30 minutes ago, President Trump posted this tweet. It reads, quote, "Because we have done so well with energy over the last few years, thank you, Mr. President. We are a net energy exporter and now the #1 energy producer in the world. We don't need Middle Eastern oil and gas and, in fact, have very few tankers there, but will help our allies."
The attack is likely to drive up U.S. gas prices. One analyst told NBC News prices at the pump could go up as much as 25 cents a gallon. Last night, President Trump authorized tapping into a U.S. oil reserve in an attempt to keep gas prices low here. That's something that hasn't happened for 8 years. Right now, AAA says the national average for regular gas is $2.56 a gallon. In California, it's $3.63 a gallon. And in Kern County, the average is $3.69. And according to GasBuddy.com, the lowest price on gas in the Bakersfield area is $3.17. You can find it at the Fast Strip on the corner of Mount Vernon and University Avenues in Northeast Bakersfield. To look up gas prices in your neighborhood, head to KGET.com, then click on the traffic section.
The China Lake Naval Air Weapons Station is still getting back online in the wake of 2 massive earthquakes. The base suffered upwards of $5 billion in damage from the July 4th and 5th earthquakes. But the base is doing testing that will produce sonic booms. The base wants to warn people nearby they'll hear numerous and continuous loud sounds during those tests. The first one was on Friday, but more tests are scheduled today from 8 till 11.
The Kern High School District is making some changes to its standard safety procedures. The new policy is part of what's known as the Safer Schools Coalition of Kern. It's making adjustments to school safety in order to clarify the differences between a lockout and a lockdown. 17's Vanessa Dillon explains the two safety protocols are making all the difference between life and death.
Statistically, if you look at mass shootings, that happening at a school campus is a very, very, very small percentage, but it's not. It could happen.
It's a conversation that puts many of us on edge, yet we see it far too often. A shooting should never happen on a school campus, so educators are taking measures to combat the possibility of it ever happening in Kern County.
The Safer Schools Coalition of Kern started after the Parkland shootings in Florida in 2018. Our superintendent, Dr. Mary Barlow, wanted to start a group where we could get all the partners in a room and start talking about what the best practices are.
Along with making schools safer, the Standard Response Protocol aims to highlight the difference between a school lockout and a school lockdown.
We used to call everything a lockdown. Now, a lockdown is when there's a threat on the campus, and it's a significant threat. And that would entail locking the doors, turning out the lights, getting out of the way of windows or corridors, out of visual sight from the outside.
And one of the first to adopt the system is the Kern High School District.
Now that we have a clear vision and a clear course of action for both of them, it's safer and we're not needlessly interrupting any classroom time.
But Ed Coleman, police chief with the school district, says he wants to assure parents that the change is minor.
Now, it's not a radical departure from what we were doing before, but it is a very comprehensive but simple way of implementing safety strategies during emergencies.
But the importance of the protocol is critical, given that it was inspired by one father's devastating loss.
He was a normal person with a normal job. In 2006, his daughter was actually killed by an active shooter on a high school campus in Colorado.
Since the shooting death of the founder's daughter, this measure has been adopted by school districts across the U.S. The new system ready to make a clear difference between something minor to critical.
We need to be prepared as educators. We need to be prepared as possible as parents, as educators and law enforcement and first responders to be able to combat this, and this is what this program is all about.
That was Vanessa Dillon reporting. We've posted more information about the protocol on our website, kget.com.
A Tehachapi woman charged with killing her ex-husband is set to be back in court today. Police say Wendy Howard shot and killed her ex-husband, Kelly Pitts, on June 5th. Court documents reveal it happened after Howard reported Pitts to police for allegedly molesting their 16-year-old daughter. During the argument, Howard says Pitts drove his quad toward her and ran over her foot. She claims she felt threatened and shot him. Last week, a judge reduced Howard's bail from $1 million to $500,000. A day later, she bailed out. Howard is due back in court for a second arraignment now that a judge has ordered her to stand trial.
And if you're planning to travel this week, make sure to plan ahead. Nighttime closures are expected on State Route 99. Starting tonight and going through Thursday, the 99 will be closed between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. each night for road work. There's a chance it could be rescheduled without notice due to things like the weather, though. So remember to slow down and watch for construction workers and equipment while driving nearby. You can find a full list of roadway closures on our website, kget.com. And part of the Kern River Parkway Trail will be closed for the next few days. It's the portion of the trail that runs along the West Side Parkway on and off ramps at Truxton Avenue. The closure starts at 7 this morning and runs through 5 p.m. Friday. During this time, crews will be removing temporary framing that goes over the pathway.
Well, still ahead this morning on Sunrise, surgery to recover an engagement ring. The shocking reason one Southern California woman swallowed her diamond.
Plus, frightening moments for a Central Valley rideshare driver. The attack that left a Lyft driver recovering in the hospital this morning, and how they are doing. It's a run to honor first responders and war veterans. Yesterday, war vets like Sergeant Mark Zambon participated in the second annual Tunnel to Towers 5K run at the park at Riverwalk. Sergeant Zambon is a double amputee who was hurt during his last deployment. Despite his injury, he says it was important for him to participate in the event.
The emotions today here at this 5K run are, pride in our community and solidarity of being here, coming together to remember not only kind of where we've come from in recent years and what we've been through as a nation.
Sergeant Zambon became the first bomb technician in the Department of Defense to return to duty in Florida, where he now teaches bomb disposal techniques. Since recovering, he's climbed Mount Kilimanjaro and raced in the 2013 Dakar Rally race.
They're every parent's most precious cargo, and this week is the CHP's Child Passenger Safety Week. The agency wants to bring awareness to the importance of making sure children are buckled up properly. CHP says between 2016 and 2018, more than 200 kids died in crashes. The agency says car seats are a big part of keeping kids safe. But a survey found 2 out of 3 seats are not used properly. Officers can help install those car seats at any CHP office. And this all leads up to National Seat Checks on Saturday. Departments all over the country will offer free safety checks. That includes Bakersfield Police. Officers will be at the Walmart on Colony Street from 9 to 1, checking to make sure seats are properly installed. So important that those car seats are properly installed. I know that, there's always a surprise sometimes to parents when they think that their car seats are in properly. But even if you've had it checked a couple of years ago, things move around, and it's just, why not be, safe?
Yeah, exactly.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Exactly. Just double check. Even if you think you've got it right, double check. Well, coming up just after the break, they're walking off the production line and onto the picket line. We'll tell you about a new strike at General Motors.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Welcome back in your 17 Business Watch. Calling all professionals and entrepreneurs, the Bakersfield Business Expo is back this week. The annual expo connects people with the tools and resources to start or run their own business. It's a place for local business people to mix and mingle and connect with the tools and resources they may need. It's happening tomorrow afternoon at the DoubleTree by Hilton on Camino del Rio Court. It starts at 4 and goes until 7 o'clock. Well, they're walking off the production line and onto the picket line. The union representing more than 46,000 General Motors workers announced Sunday it will go on strike. As Dan Shinneman explains, the existing collective bargaining agreement expired Saturday and negotiations for a new deal broke down.
The United Auto Workers Union announced Sunday its members at General Motors plants will walk off the production line and onto the picket line.
This is our last resort. It represents great sacrifice and great courage on the part of our members and all of us.
Union leaders and the company have been locked in talks over a new contract since July. The often contentious negotiations broke down, and plant-level leaders voted unanimously to strike.
We are standing up for fair wages. We are standing up for affordable, quality health care. We are standing up for our share of the profits.
GM says it's offered more than $7 billion in investments, promised to create 5,400 new jobs, and insists it offered best-in-class wages and benefits.
We believe that we presented a strong offer to the UAW.
However, UAW leaders argue workers helped save the company when it filed for bankruptcy protection in 2009, and now want that loyalty to be reciprocated.
They stood up for that company. And now they want that company to stand up for them at the table.
The nation's largest automaker now brought to a standstill. Dan Shenneman, NBC News.
The last UAW strike against GM happened back in 2007. That two-day strike cost the automaker more than $6 million. Several Democratic presidential nominee frontrunners are showing their support for the workers going on strike. Several posted tweets after the union announced the strike. Former Vice President Joe Biden tweeted, quote, "A job is about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about dignity and respect. Proud to stand with UAW to demand fair wages and benefits for their members. America's workers deserve better." Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren posted, quote, "Auto workers deserve good wages, comprehensive benefits, and economic security. I stand with UAW as they strike to get what they deserve and urge GM to come to the table and negotiate in good faith." And South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg tweeted, "I'm proud to stand with the hardworking members of UAW in their fight for fair wages, health care, and job security. GM should do right by the workers who fuel its profits." President Trump is also tweeting about the strike yesterday. He posted this tweet, which reads, quote, "Here we go again with General Motors and the United Auto Workers. Get together and make a deal." Well, also in business news, a big-name drug company that made billions selling the prescription painkiller OxyContin has filed for bankruptcy. The move comes just days after Purdue Pharma reached a tentative settlement with a number of local and state governments suing the company. The suits claim Purdue aggressively marketed OxyContin as a drug with a low risk of addiction, but knew that wasn't the case. Some government officials object to the deal. They say it means Purdue won't be found, that is, liable by a judge or jury. The chairman of the company's board of directors says Purdue hasn't admitted to any wrongdoings and doesn't plan to.